everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday evening here on our YouTube channel. As usual, if you're new to the channel, please review our lessons, semester 1, 2, and 3. You'll find all the fundamentals and the basics of the wisdom of Kabbalah on this channel if you're interested. And if you'd like to take your study one gear up, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and register to the KabU Academy there and learn from all over the world with like-minded people. And there's probably somebody from your country near you as well. In the interim, we're going to carry on with excerpts from selected writings, selected excerpts from sources, and we're starting a new topic today called Crown the King Over Us. All right, so let's start. This is from Rabash, letter number 76. It is known that the whole earth is full of his glory. This is what every person should believe. As it is written, I fill the heaven and the earth. However, the Creator has made a concealment so that we cannot see him, so as to have room for choice. And then there's room for faith. To believe that the Creator fills all the worlds and encompasses all the worlds. And after a person engages in Torah and mitzvot and keeps the commandment of choice, the Creator reveals himself to him, and then he sees that the Creator is the ruler of the world. Thus, at that time, a person makes the king who will rule over him. That is, a person feels that the Creator is the ruler of the world, and this is regarded as a person making the Creator king over him. As long as one has not come to such a feeling, the Creator's kingship is concealed. This is why we say, on that day, the Lord will be one and his name one. That is, the glory of his kingship will appear over us. This is the whole correction we must do in this world. And by that we extend abundance in the world. For all the bestowals from above are drawn by engaging in Torah and mitzvot with the aim to extend his kingship on us. All right, that was actually quite nice. Let's read that again. It's known that the whole earth is full of his glory. This is what every person should believe, as it is written, I fill the heaven and the earth. So we should come to feel such a state, actually. All right. So knowing in the wisdom of Kabbalah is obviously perceiving that situation and living in that state. Okay, that's what really belief is. This is why in the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we're talking about believing, we're talking about attaining. However, the Creator has made a concealment so that we cannot see him, so to have room for choice, and then there's room for faith. To believe that the Creator fills all the worlds and encompasses all the worlds. And after a person engages in Torah and mitzvot and keeps the commandment of choice, the Creator reveals himself to him, and then he sees that the Creator is the ruler of the world. So this is really important. We have to be on top of this thing called choice. After a person engages in Torah and mitzvot, obviously our Torah is the wisdom of Kabbalah, right? Torah means teaching. So our teaching is the teachings of Baal Salam, Rabash, which actually go all the way back to Adam, all right? And Abraham was the one who taught the general public. So all our teaching, all our Torah, all the teaching actually comes from those sages. And keep the commandment of choice. So one has to make a choice. What is that choice? That choice is what the purpose of my life is. Am I going to go after my spiritual life, or am I going to go after my corporeal life? That's choice. You can't have such a choice unless you have two equal strength desires opposing each other. One for corporeality, desire to receive for myself, that's what corporeality is. And the other for spirituality, which is attaining the attribute of the Creator, which is love and bestowal, which should give us a higher level of perception of reality, and which should bring us to being independent from our corporeal structure, our body. And after a person engages in Torah and mitzvot and keeps the commandment of choice, the Creator reveals himself to him, and then he sees that the Creator is the ruler of the world. right? So that's good because once we see the creator, it sounds like it's an easier job, right? Once the creator is revealed, it's all honky-dory kind of thing. Well, we'll see if that's the case. Let's see what else he's saying. Thus, at that time, so when a person comes to the revelation of the creator, a person makes the king who will rule over him. That is, a person feels that the creator is the ruler of the world, and this is regarded as a person making the creator king over him. So once I see the truth that the whole of reality is governed by the attribute of the creator, when we're talking about the creator, obviously we're not talking about some kind of, I don't know, some kind of a person like, I don't know, in the clouds somewhere. All right. So when we're talking about the creator, we're talking about how his force works on reality. And that is what the person feels. Because in life as well, how do we get to know people? We get to know people through their actions, don't we? Through how they relate to us, how they treat us, what they say to us, how they talk to us, how they care for us, and so on. So every person is judged according to what they do because that's the normality of things. That's the norm. And same here with the creator. So if a person wants to make the creator king over him, he needs to come to this revelation. Without that, you can't make the creator king over you. Okay. It's not a religious thing. This is an attainment thing. And like I said, creator is the attribute of love and bestowal. As long as one has not come to such a feeling, the creator's kingship is concealed. So without getting to that perception, there's nothing really to talk about. This is why we say on that day, the Lord will be one and his name one, which means that the vessel and the vessel and the light are together. That is the glory of his kingship will appear over us. This is the whole correction we must do in this world, and by that we extend abundance in the world, for all the bestowals from above are drawn by engaging in Torah and Mitzvot with the aim to extend his kingship on us. So if we study and we correct ourselves, then we can attain this high level of reality, and that high level of reality will reign us. That's what making the creator king over us means. Obviously, the king, when we're talking about the king, we're not talking about the creator who wants to, have servants or, I don't know, people who kind of like his his servants or whatever. All right, so that's not the case at all. What we're looking at here is how a person makes the attribute of love and bestowal his king. It is the way he lives now, just like the creator does. And that's the unity between the person and the creator. So in sometimes in the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we're talking about the king and we're servants of the king, slaves to the king, and so on, it doesn't sound so good. Okay, but this is how they feel because they feel like they're a slave to this attribute of love and bestowal, not to some king like we have in this world. That's not the case at all, right? So we really need to get that definition sorted out. And, in religions, they also believe that they're going to be servant or king to someone, so the servant to somebody because God is the king and so on. But we have to understand here, if God wanted to create us like, regular people that would serve him and so on, that would be rather egoistic, wouldn't it? So this is not the case at all. What we're looking at here is how a person changes his nature from an egoistic, selfish nature into a nature of love and bestowal. And that love and bestowal now governs that person. And we call that the creator is king over us because that's the attribute of the creator. All right. So you don't have to be a slave to anyone or anything. All right. So you can relax. We can move on to excerpt number 2. If there are any questions, you guys let me know. Okay. Excerpt number 2. This is also from Rabash, article number 1. What is, we have no other king but you in the work. Our Father, our King, we have no other king but you. In other words, only the Creator can help make him our king. So we can work because we're serving the king. And this is our reward. That we have the privilege of serving the king. This means that only then can we do everything for the sake of the Creator. In other words, if the Creator does not give him this power to feel that we have a great king, he has no strength to work for the sake of the Creator. For the body claims, what will you do? What will you get from bestowing upon the Creator? In other words, as long as the will to receive dominates a person is powerless. Sometimes he doubts the beginning. Sometimes he doubts the beginning, meaning says that now he sees that he has worked in vain and did not gain anything by his labor. Now he really sees that all his work was to no avail. Therefore, when the Creator helps him and gives him the desire to bestow, and he feels that he has a great king, only the Creator can give this. This is the meaning of what is written, "Our Father, our King, we have no other king but you." Namely, only you can make us feel that we have a great king and it is worthwhile to work for him, to bring him contentment. All right, as usual, let's go over it again. Little by little. Our Father, our King, we have no other king but you. Okay, so we also need to come to this kind of a realization, because in this life, we feel that we govern our own lives, don't we? Making our own decisions, we think we're independent, all that kind of jazz. So when a person attains spirituality, he understands that the world is working in a system, and there's nothing we can really do to escape that system. We're a part of the system. We are like cogwheels in that system, and not much to do. We're just working in that machine like a cogwheel or a screw in the machine, let's say. In other words, only the Creator can help make him our king. So only the Creator can change us so that we can attain a higher level. So we can work because we're serving the king, and this is our reward. Now, serving the king, because this is our reward, that we have the privilege of serving the king. Okay. We have to set this right as well in the work, especially when a beginner starts to study the wisdom of Kabbalah and starts reading these texts. We really have to kind of like stabilize this inside of us. So let's go over this sentence again. Let's see, where are we? Only the Creator can help make him our king. So only the Creator can change my nature. Once the Creator changes my nature to love and bestowal, then my king is that attribute of love and bestowal. Right now, who's the king in our life? Our ego. Okay, that's the king. So we do all our decisions on a self-benefit basis. So that's our king, right? Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the king because all our decisions are for self-benefit and we don't care and think about anybody else. We will always decide in our own favor. And because of that situation, right now, the Pharaoh is the king, just like in the story, the king of Egypt. So if I want to change my nature and get rid of that Pharaoh, I have to get out of my egoism. And the only power that can take me out of my egoism is the Creator himself. And when he does that, what happens? And then the Creator's attribute of love and bestowal becomes my king. So it's a bit bizarre, right? I'm going from one king to another. It feels like I'm always going to be a slave, right? To something, either a slave to my egoism or a slave to love of others. It's like you can't escape being a slave, but this is how they describe it. And it's actually right, because when you change your nature, you don't have free choice. That's just who you are. Okay. So it's just how it is. So from one nature to another nature, you just swapped your king, and that's basically it. All right. That's what changing our nature is, and that's what making the Creator king over us is. So we are rewarded with this new attribute of love and bestowal. Now, the beauty about love and bestowal is it's a better king. So we've got something to be happy about, because love and bestowal gives a person the sensation of completeness, serenity, that I don't lack or feel anything missing in life. It all seems to like fit in nicely and everything works out just perfectly. Okay. So we don't mind a king like that after this world anyway. Okay. But obviously, when they write it in a text like this, sometimes it's a little awkward and we do misunderstand things. This means that only then can we do everything for the sake of the Creator. For the sake of the Creator means that I can do everything in order to bestow. Why are we calling it for the sake of the Creator? Because in reality, there is the Creator and there is me. Okay, so all that relationship, everything, the whole of reality is a relationship between the Creator and me. And just like He is loving and bestowing towards me, I then do everything towards the Creator in turn as love and bestowal. And that is why we have this mutual relationship where we're working completely for the Creator and the Creator is working completely for us. In other words, if the Creator does not give him this power to feel that we have a great king, he has no strength to work for the sake of the Creator, for the body claims, what will you get from bestowing upon the Creator? Now, this is something we're going to come to on the path, if you haven't already come to it, okay? If the Creator does not give him this power, if the Creator does not change our nature, if he does not help us, if he doesn't give us any kind of taste, something, right? Some motivation, some drive, some little light from, I don't know, afar, then the person will not have the strength to go on. Okay, that's just not going to happen. So only the Creator can help. And when the Creator does help, what happens? And then I can say we have a great king. If not, we have no strength. And if I don't have any strength, my body will complain. Body means the desire to receive for myself. Why? Because the desire to receive for myself does not get any pleasure in loving others. The desire to receive for oneself gets pleasure from being loved by others, but not loving others. Okay, that's just not how it works. This is why we like to be famous. Yeah, we like to be rich, smart. Why? Because everybody can love us, but we don't want to love anybody. All right. So this is why the will to receive is complaining. What do you want to bestow for? What for? All right. And in other words, as long as the will to receive dominates a person, is powerless. And that is absolutely true. In our egoistic nature, we are absolutely powerless towards the ego. This is why we have to create some kind of a synthetic material called the environment, something man-made to keep us in check, in line. Otherwise, we've got nothing. Sometimes he doubts the beginning, meaning says that now he sees that he has worked in vain and did not gain anything by his labor, which is also true. We will get to those moments and plenty of them too. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, a lot of them. A person will say, I've done everything, I'm doing everything, and nothing seems to be working. And you will get a lot of them. So we should be ready for it. Now he really sees that all his work was to no avail, because after everything a person did, and is still doing, completely ripping himself apart or herself, so there's nothing you can do to change yourself or to get yourself into some other reality, some other nature. So he feels that everything he did was just a waste of time. Therefore, when the Creator helps him and gives him the desire to bestow, and he feels that he has a great king, only the Creator can give this. So the only time you're going to get it is when you get to a state where you understand that there's nothing you can do about it. And once you understand there's nothing you can do about it, then maybe you might start praying for it. It's not a bad idea, actually. This is the meaning of what is written, Our Father, our King, We have no other king but you. So we have to attain that, which is the revelation of the Creator. Namely, only you can make us feel that we have a great king and it's worthwhile to work for him to bring him contentment. All right. So this is a completely new reality that we need to reveal. All right. So just bear with me here 1 second. Okay. Excerpt number 3. This is from Baal Islam's Shamati, article number 211. As though standing before a king. One who's sitting at one's home is not as one who's sitting before the, or not as one who's standing before a king. This means that faith should be that he will feel all day as though he's standing before the king. Then his love and fear will certainly be complete. As long as he has not achieved this kind of faith, he should not rest. For this is our lives and the length of our days, and we will accept no recompense. And the lack of faith should be woven in his limbs until the habit becomes a second nature, to the extent that when I remember him, he does not let me sleep. All right, so let's read that again. From Shamati 2:11. One who's sitting at one's home is not as one who's standing before a king. This means that faith should be that he will feel all day as though he's standing before the king. All right, so we need to come to a state where we're in touch with the king, with the creator, that is, all the time. Then his love and fear will certainly be complete. As long as he has not achieved this kind of faith, he should not rest. For this is our lives and the length of our days, and we will accept no recompense. All right, fair enough. So a person needs to, as he says here in Shamati, really dedicate his whole life just to get to this spiritual state. And this is why we have the desire to receive complaining all the time. Right? Because who wants to give up everything to get spiritual? And we don't even know what it is. No idea. Complete darkness. It's like a wild goose chase. Okay. And there's no goose. So it is. Right. So we don't know what's going on. And that's just how it is, though. All right. But this is why we have a dot in the heart. So when we study, although the desire to receive does complain, there's also a feeling inside of us from that dot in the heart that has some room to stand up against the desire to receive. And that's that Moshe inside of us. So we've got the Pharaoh, the desire to receive pleasure for ourselves. And then we've got Moshe inside of us, that dot in the heart. And they're just, quarreling it out at the moment. Okay. So here, obviously, what we need is the Creator's help. Just like in the story, Moshe needs the Creator's help as well. He can't defeat the Pharaoh on his own. He's a single man. He's got a whole army. Pharaoh's a bad, bad man. All right, so there's no way he can beat him. But the Creator says, listen, I'm going to be coming with you, so don't worry about it. Okay, relax. Relax, take your staff, let's go for a walk and have a chat with the guy. And this is exactly how it pans out. Unless the Creator helps you out, this change is not going to happen. But a person should not feel despair because despite the many times that he asks for help, he's not getting it. All right. So if, despite the fact that all the time I'm asking for help, I'm like, come on, help me out, get us out of this mess. And it seems like or feels like he's not giving any help. A person should not feel despair in that. And there's a really nice article, which we read actually last night from Rabash. And the article really nicely stated that whatever the Creator gives to a person, a person should believe that that is the best thing for him, and that the person is always expecting from the creator what he or she wants. But the creator is always wise. And despite what we want, the creator will always give us what is best for us. Just like we don't give everything that children want, we give them the good things, right? And normally what we as parents consider good, they don't really like. Okay, so they want chocolate, and I'm making him a green veggie smoothie, right? Not the best of alternatives. However, though, I'm giving him what's good for him, right? And that's just how it is. So we have to really understand that sometimes a person really comes to despair despite asking so many times that there's no answer. I'm not getting any help at all. Person must really believe and understand from laws of nature. That's just how it is. We're only going to get what the creator knows to be best for us. Okay. And that's what we must believe. We must believe like the creator is a good parent, and he's always giving to me what's best for me. Okay. And that I have to trust. And we can actually find that from that article of Rabash as well. It was a really nice article, quite a long one too. We can actually find that to be reasonable as well, because this is exactly how we treat our children. We want to give them the best, not what they want. Because what they want is like, no. Okay. All right. So, and the lack of faith should be woven in his limbs until the habit becomes a second nature. To the extent that when I remember him, he does not let me sleep. So what we need to do, really make a habit of using the environment in such a way that the environment will always remind me that there's none else besides him, and that we're all of us together in one bundle going in that direction. And yeah, we have ups and downs. We sometimes take wrong turns and stuff. That's fine. As long as we don't go off track completely and leave the path, a person's always going to go through these ups and downs and a little bit dramas on the way. So we really need to make a habit of it. And this is why it's very important in the wisdom of Kabbalah. If you're going to study anything, not just the wisdom of Kabbalah, but if you want to be good at anything, you need to have a study framework, don't you? If you want to be like a good musician, you can't just practice whenever, whatever. Okay. You got to practice disciplined every day. You got to put some time into it. Otherwise, how's that going to work out for you? It's not going to work out if you just practice whenever you want, once in a blue moon, or, today, tomorrow, but I'm going to take a week off. It's just, not serious. So with us as well, we should really make this work a habit. It should become for us instinctive, natural. And that we should always remember the creator. He does not let me sleep. This is really nice phenomena. When I remember him, he does not let me sleep. I'm sure sometimes you can also experience it as well. Sometimes you feel like your body is sleeping, but you're not sleeping. Okay. It's a really exceptional feeling. But this is how it is. So we have to make good use of the environment. And we have to make sure that the environment is always reminding us that there's none else besides him. He's good that does good. And we have to stick together, stick it out, and keep pushing through. Okay. Excerpt number 4. Where are we? Let's do this number 4 as well, and we'll call it a night. This is from Rabash, article number 9. One's greatness depends on the measure of one's faith in the future. Sometimes the king is so important in the eyes of a person that the person has a strong desire to merely speak to the king, but not because he wishes to speak to the king so the king will give him something. He doesn't want anything, but his whole pleasure is in having the privilege of speaking to the king. However, it is impolite to come to the king without some request. So he's searching for some request that the king may grant. In other words, he says that he wants to come to the king so the king will give him something. But in truth, he says that he wants the king to give him something only on the outside. In his heart, he does not want anything from the king. Just having the ability to speak to the king is enough for him, and it does not matter to him if the king has given him something or not. So imagine this is a kind of sensation that a Kabbalist is going through. Right? You have a dialogue with the creator. The creator wants to give, okay, because you feel that's the creator's nature, and you feel you're created in order to receive from him. But in fact, the only thing you really want is to have contact with the creator, and that's all. So let's read that again. Sometimes the king is so important in the eyes of a person that the person has a strong desire to merely speak to the king, but not because he wishes to speak to the king so the king will give him something. So the person just wants to connect with the creator. That's all, doesn't want to get anything. In religions, normally what are they doing? They're always asking for something, right? Give us health, look after the family, I don't know, whatever the person is praying out there for from God. But in the wisdom of Kabbalah, the only thing you're really seeking for is a connection with the creator. That's all. We don't want to get anything. Okay. We just want to have a connection with the creator as per the laws of nature. Why? Because the laws of nature is also all and complete connectedness. He doesn't want anything, but his whole pleasure is in having the privilege of speaking to the king. So just to have contact with the king, with the creator. However, it is implied to come to the king without some request. So he's searching for some request that the king may grant. In other words, he says that he wants to come to the king so the king will give him something. But in truth, he says that he wants the king to give him something only on the outside. In his heart, he does not want anything from the king. Just having the ability to speak to the king is enough for him. And it does not matter to him if the king has given him something or not. So the only thing, this is the same relation that we have in the example we looked at in the morning lesson, right? The creator and the host and the guest, right? The creator and the created being, the host and the guest. Remember, I've mentioned it in the morning lesson as well, if you listen to it. Okay. So the host doesn't really want anything. He's just there to connect. So the guest doesn't really want anything. He's just there to connect with the host. Okay. But the host is only going to be happy if the guest eats and drinks and is happy with what he's getting. Right. So just to make the host happy, the guest decides to eat and drink and enjoy everything on the table, but just to make the host happy. And all that food and the pleasant drinks and everything, the whole, I don't know, the whole festive meal, let's say, is not important at all. But only their friendship is important. This is why it says wanting something on the outside. Okay, wants the king to give him something only on the outside. It means it's not relevant, really. It's not the main thing. In his heart, he only wants one thing. And what's that? Just to connect with the king. To speak to the king is enough for him, and it does not matter to him if the king has given him something or not. And that's the kind of desire we should get to. And as we study more and more, we will get there. All right. So we will get there. We'll get to all of these discernments. These excerpts are really nice, and I really love studying them, going through them on a Tuesday evening. It's like the middle of the week, nearly anyway. And it really just, going over these excerpts, they're short, they're sweet, they're to the point, and they give you this room to kind of like open up your feelings a little bit more. Like, how am I going to do this? Like, what do I need to do? How can I do this? How can I feel such a thing? Because if you paid attention to everything we've read, okay, it's really just opening up our feeling to this new attribute completely disconnected from my egoism, selfishness, and to be enclosed in this thing called the love of others. And that's the kind of like sensation we want to open up with all these little excerpts here and there. By the topic as well, crowning the king over us, making bestowal king over us, so that this love can give us this sensation that we're united in unity in this common flow with the Creator. And if we don't kind of get that sensation, you'll see, and you can see in the world right now, as we've all seen for thousands of years, only and only chaos. All right? There's no other way to raise ourselves to a peaceful, serene perception. There's only one way, and that is the love of others. And that's a completely new nature, which only the person can demand from the Creator, and the Creator can grant. Now, why is it that way? Because look, if I demand something from the Creator, I get connected to the Creator. This is why demanding from the Creator is really good, because it creates connections, this give and take relationship, right? In life, we also have that. How do we connect with people? We give and take, don't we? If I love someone, I give them something, okay? If I love my children, they ask things from me, don't they? They want to connect. How do we connect with them? We give and take. We connect with people with give and take. Our relationships are all based on give and take. And if we balance it out, it's a great relationship. And if we don't, well, it's a legal relationship. But that's just how it is. So if we understand that requesting from the Creator is a way to build our relationship with the Creator, we can then understand this is the thing that really elevates the person. And it's not a belittling thing, it's an elevation. Sometimes in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we feel like we're praying and wanting something from the Creator, and we feel like a beggar, we feel bad, right? But that shouldn't be the situation. It should be like, you really want to connect with the Creator. You really want to, you want to get it on, as they say. Okay. Get it on with the Creator. And that's how it should be. All right. This is the desire that we're building on. All right. So completely looking for the Creator, seeking the Creator, wanting to connect with the Creator is really our way of building a bridge towards the Creator. And as we go through this process where we're constantly trying but not succeeding, it brings us more understanding, clarifications on where I should tweak, change, and so on. This is why when we study wisdom of Kabbalah, sometimes what we really feel to be right and correct now can be completely false the next day. All right. So, because we're changing all the time. And the same thing is when children are growing up as well. Okay. As we grow up, our reality starts to become more true. And it's not the old playtime reality that we were living when we were kids. But as we're growing up, we're getting more realistic. Okay. More realistic, more pain. Okay. It's the same kind of thing. All right. But this is how it works. And that actually increases the desire to move forward. Okay. No pain, no gain. All right. Have a good one. All the best. We'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed the articles and the excerpts. And we'll see how we go next time. All the best. Bye bye.